the ferry for the afternoon. You carried a paper bag and a checked shirt. We sat at the window seat like it mattered. Your jacket slipped off the chair. Hudson Light lined your face. I folded my hands around a coffee cup. I watched the city slow past. You hummed a song I half remembered. There was a pause when you turned in your sleep. My thumb smoothed the map in my pocket. You fell asleep on the window seat. I leaned my head against the glass. It felt small and enough like a room. The city moved, but we were still you asleep, and I could breathe. We'd argued earlier about where to eat. You promised somewhere with cheap pasta. We never found it, but you laughed at the map. I folded your sleeve back for the ferry air. A pigeon landed on the rail for a moment. You reached without waking and missed it. I left the window slightly open. You fell asleep on the window seat. I watched the light make lungs in your hands. It felt proper, not heroic, just stars. Traffic sounded distant like a radio. You asleep and I could breathe. Your scarf over your chest. It was clumsy, but I wanted it there. You shifted, mumbled a name I couldn't place, and then you turned, and the boat hummed on. You fell asleep on the window seat. This time I smiled at the plain smallness. It wasn't perfect, but it sat right. I kept my hand on the armrest. You asleep, and I could breathe. We stepped off by the ferry steps. You woke with that puzzled look. We walked on like we'd planned to all along. There was a postcard on the kitchen table. You'd left it there by the sugar jar, postmarked 2 weeks into our holiday. A photo of a deli neon. Your handwriting slanted the way it does. You'd written a line and then dabbed coffee. I turned it over like a small secret. It said, found a bagel worth the wait. You'd underlined the word worth. I read it again while the kettle boiled. You sent me a postcard from the Lower East. You wrote like you were trying not to be serious. Seeing your words made the flat feel bigger. I put it on the the fridge so I'd see it. It was tiny, but it held the day. I kept the stamp for a while. Sometimes I folded the corner back. You'd stuck a small receipt inside a coffee till slip with a time. I guessed the place by the time on it. I laughed at the little handwriting mistake, and I left the postcard by the loaf. You sent me a postcard from the Lower East. Your joke about the bagel made me laugh aloud. I walked past the window and felt like you were near. I left the fridge light on that night. It felt small and enough again. I called the number scribbled on a receipt. A cafe answered and then held for a beat. Someone said we're small today and hung up. I stood by the sink and rinsed the cup. You sent me a postcard from the Lower East. This time I smoothed your words with my thumb. I could hear you in the sound of the city street. That night I left the postcard where I could see. It was tiny, but it held the day. I stacked the mail and made tea. You arrived 3 days later with muffins. You worked the morning shift by the lamplight. Polaroid stuck to the counter behind him. The chip cup was always his choice. He'd say it's character in that half-joke way. He learned my order in 3 tries. He steamed the milk like he'd practiced. We traded small confessions over sugar packets. One morning he handed me a cup with a lipstick ring. I pretended not to see. You said they left in a hurry and winked. He makes the lamplight coffee wrong on purpose. He mixes in a question with every stir. The cup looks too small beside my hands, and I like that he notices the little things. It feels like being seen in a quiet shop. We talked about phones and about trains. He named every bus route by number. I told him a story about missing a stop. He laughed and wiped the steam off the machine. Once he wrote a note on my receipt. Meet me at 8 if it's not raining. I kept that receipt in my coat for days. He makes the lamplight coffee wrong on purpose. He pushes the cup across with a shy grin. The cream doesn't quite settle how I expected. Tastes like a joke and a small invitation. It left me smiling in the morning light. I kept rehearsing excuses in my pocket. Later I walked past the shop and paused. He waved from makes the lamplight coffee wrong on purpose. This time I took the cup and stayed a little while. We shared a cinnamon sugar like it's a treaty. The shop hummed and the lamp flickered low. I left with the mug warm in my palms. On my last day I asked for the chip cup. He shrugged and said, "It's yours now." We opened the map on the table, creases like the lines of our week. You traced a route with the tip of a finger. I watched your hand rest on Queens. There was flour on the table from last night's bread, a candle half melted in the mason jar. You said nothing, and I felt like reading you. The map smelled faintly of street vendors. I folded it wrong twice. Your coffee went cold beside a postcard. The map on the table told me where we'd been. It didn't make promises, just showed the lines. Looking at it, I stopped wanting to decide. I let your finger choose and followed for once. It felt small, but it changed the course. You complained about subway delays once. You hummed to keep the time passing. I reminded you of a film we'd missed. You rolled your eyes and marked a new stop. We put pins in places we'd say we loved. A cheap magnet held us in a must-up. I smoothed the bend and felt less restless. The map on the table told me where we'd been. This time I drew a small circle near the river. Your hand found mine over graffiti on the page. It wasn't a plan, more a tiny agreement. It sat there and made the room quieter. To a neat square. It fit in my pocket like a secret. Outside the window, a bus backfired. I waited a beat, and then I walked back in. The map on the table told me where we'd been. I kept the fold as if it were a promise, not loud or certain, just an ease in my step. I did not ask for directions that night. It felt small, but it changed the course. We left the map flat on the table. It waited the next morning under a mug. They took the same bench by the museum steps. He had a camera on a strap, she a tote bag. They ate soft pretzels and shared a map. Tourists took pictures of the steps. He showed her a photo he'd taken that morning. She smiled at the way he angled the light. They passed a bag of roasted nuts between them. said, "This city's loud, but it hums nice." She nodded and looked at the people. Something in the pause made him laugh. On the bench near the mat, they learned to breathe. A small ritual of sitting after the street. Her head on his shoulder for a minute or two. They didn't rush the day, just let it sit. It made the city feel like a slow thing. A street vendor sold toy saxophones nearby. He pretended to play one and made her giggle. She pointed at a pigeon with a piece of paper. He picked it up and read the short note aloud. They planned nothing big, just a bakery next. He drew a line on the map with a coin. She tapped the bench and it sounded like a metronome. On the bench near the mat, they learned to breathe. He offered her his scarf when the wind came in. She accepted it as if it were ordinary care. They watched the late sun tilt behind the columns. The bench kept them small and steady. "Remember when we missed the train?" she said. "We caught the next one," he replied with a grin. They sat in the easy quiet after the laugh. A bus rolled by and the noise wrapped around them. On the bench near the mat, they learned to breathe. This time she leaned in like a small promise. They folded the map and stood when the light drops. They walked on like it was part of a good day. The city felt large, but the bench held them. They left a coin on the bench for someone else. Started while we were window shopping. We ducked into a record shop for cover. The bell chimed and a man asked if we wanted tea. Your shoes were already soaked at the toes. He ran a finger along the sleeve and smiled. The vinyl smelled like the last time I stood here. You pulled out a record with a sleeve of blue. You tried to hum the song without the words. I guess the chorus wrong twice. We laughed until the clerk offered us umbrellas. You put the record on and the room changed. The rain made patterns on the shop window. You sang a line off tune and I joined in. It felt like being inside a small joke. The song in the rain made me feel nearer to you. We flipped through sleeves like reading postcards. You explained why you liked a certain bass line. I pretended to be serious about the album art. We paid with exact change and walked to the door. Outside the street smelled of wet leather and coffee. You balanced the record under your coat. I pressed it to the cart seat like a prize. You put the record on and the room changed. This time I managed to catch the chorus right. We danced on the pavement under one umbrella. Your voice got hoarse from smiling too much. It felt small and ridiculous and right. We paused by a shop window to listen. A couple argued in the shop next door. You stood very still and I noticed you more. We started walking again without deciding. You put the record on and the room changed. Later I learned the artist name by heart. The song keeps popping up in my head since I keep the record sleeve on my shelf at home. It feels like a tiny weatherproof memory. The rain stopped when we reached the subway. We rode home with our coats smelling of record dust. You kept a coin in your pocket for luck. It was rough at the edge from being juggled. We walked Broadway where the lights never sleep. You stopped to watch a street performer. He tossed his hat and the crowd sang along. You nudged me and said, "Watch this," like a dare. I pretended not to watch your hands. You found a coin under a bench. You showed it like a small discovery. I put my glove in my pocket to hide a smile. You kept a pocket coin for small decisions. You said it chose the night and I could follow. We dropped coins like apologies into open cases. It sounded like applause for nothing at all. A tiny thing became the night's small logic. We crossed where the buskers used trumpet and feet. You hummed along to a tune you didn't know. I bought a pretzel and handed you the salt. You tried to remember the name of the street. Someone called a joke across the road and you laughed. You flipped the coin between your fingers again. You didn't ask me to choose this time. You kept a pocket coin for small decisions. This time you let the coin fall where it would. It landed in a busker's case with a soft clink. We stood and listened to the guitar ring out. It felt like a tiny promise kept. You reached and dropped the coin in slow motion. The player looked up and nodded a thanks. You didn't say anything after that. We walked away like it had been a plan. You kept a pocket coin for small decisions. Now it rests with others' small offerings. We shared a look like we'd made a quiet choice. The lights blurred and the street kept talking. small coin made the evening feel appointed. You kept a new coin in a different pocket. You said it's for the next good decision. I found the keys in the kitchen drawer. They were looped on a ring with the label 3B. Dust on the metal like someone had left them for months. I turned them over under the stovetop light. There was a faint scratch on one tooth. I put them in my palm and felt the weight. I didn't know if they were mine to keep. I thought about knocking on a neighbor's door. I rehearsed a question and then didn't ask. Instead I sat with the keys on the table. These flat 3B keys asked nothing of me. They fit into my palm like something possible. Holding them made the hallway feel less foreign. I slid one between my fingers and practiced leaving. It wasn't a promise, more a small permission. I tried them on 2 doors that night. One clicked and the other refused to turn. I left the ring on the hook by the sink. Sometimes I took them out just to hold. They felt like a map of small entrances. I imagined a neighbor who'd lost them once. I imagined them returning without fuss. These flat 3B keys asked nothing of me. They made the flat feel like less of a stranger. I started leaving the light on by the hall. Small routines unspooled like thread in my hands. Holding them changed the way I moved here. Drawer, I didn't lock the door before I slept. I felt a tiny ripple of ease. The next morning the drawer closed and the light in the stairwell blinked. These flat 3B keys asked nothing of me. Now they sit beneath a pile of receipts. I pass them sometimes and don't pick them up. The flat feels owned by small acts I keep. It wasn't a decision, just a steadier step. I left the keys where they were the whole week. They were there the morning I moved my things in. We crossed the bridge when the light went thin. Your scarf hung loose while my hat blew a bit. You folded a napkin and drew a root on it. We argued briefly about which side to take. Some cyclists shouted and we moved aside. The river smelled like the corner, fish and salt. I clutched the napkin like it held our plans. You talked about an art show you'd seen that day. I listened mostly to the cars below. The skyline leaned over us like a familiar friend. You drew our evening on a napkin mid-walk, simple lines and an arrow for the cafe. Seeing it in your hand made the night seem planned. I stopped stepping so hard and matched your pace. A small map made the dark feel like a choice. We stopped halfway to look at the skyline. You said, let's not rush the bit near the water. A couple argued in two languages nearby. You fed me small bits of the plan quietly, the napkin folded into a tiny square. You tucked it into your pocket for safekeeping. You hummed a tune to cover the traffic noise. You drew our evening on a napkin mid-walk. This time the arrow pointed toward a pier. Your hand in my sleeve, the cold knot is sharp. I laughed at the way you overlaid the map. We walked slower so the city could catch up. We paused and said nothing for a full minute. The city noise seemed to respect the hush. You took my hand and didn't pull it away. The napkin warmed in your pocket like an ember. You drew our evening on a napkin mid-walk. Now the map is folded rough in my wallet. When I'm unsure, I smooth it out and smile. It doesn't solve much, but it steadies the step. A tiny plan keeps the night from feeling big. We reached the pier and shared a pastry. The napkin stayed folded in your pocket all night. I sat by Terminal A with your boarding pass. It was creased along the corner I'd handled. You'd poured your coffee into a paper cup and left the lid. The tray had a smear of mustard from lunch. People moved in their small, rehearsed ways. You checked your watch and then checked it again. You said, call me when you land, like it's a thing to do. The tannoy announced a delayed gate. We didn't rush or make big plans. I traced the barcode until the number blurred. You folded the boarding pass like a small flag. You looked up and smiled like it was ordinary. It felt steady, not empty, just honest. I let you go with the coffee cup warm in your hand. That small ceremony made the leaving softer. your cue and then I walked back to the window. You turned once to check if I was still there. I waved like a child by a seaside pier. You mouthed something that I pretended to read. The sun slid like a card across the runway. A boy chased a remote plane with his father. I kept the past folded in my pocket. Afterward, I didn't run or shout for one more stop. I bought a sandwich and ate it like a person. The city waits for no one, still it held. You folded the boarding pass like a small flag. This time I put the pass in a drawer at home. I opened it sometimes to see the crease. It didn't pull me backward, only kept the day. Letting you go felt quieter than I'd feared. The flat felt different the evening you left. I made the bed and didn't leave the light on. I read a book until my eyes softened. I knew I'd call when the plane landed later. You folded the boarding pass like a small flag. Now the crease sits with other small things. It reminds me of leaving. That wasn't out. I kept the coffee ring on a napkin beside it. It felt like closing a page with calm hands. I put a tiny note on the fridge that said, "Welcome back." It stayed there for a week and then I washed the plate.